So today we're going to talk about NRG and what went so wrong for NRG to start off with ever since FNS and SOM came back, and then how did they manage to turn it around against Crew, because these are the three games they've played with FNS and SOM, these three games here, and you see in their first two games they didn't even win a map, right? They lost 2-0 to two good teams, but they lost 2-0, and then they lost the first map against Crew as well, but managed to turn it around on the last two maps here and win the game versus Crew. So how did this all happen? So let's go through these three games then and talk about what went wrong in them. Let's start with that Sentinels game. And what went wrong for NRG in that Sentinels game? Well, the first thing I'm going to talk about here has nothing to do with their gameplay whatsoever. It's to do with their map veto, because I thought their map veto was horrific against Sentinels. Probably the worst map veto you could have picked against this team. NRG, they banned Haven. Let's start with that, because this is already, I think, a pretty major mistake. Okay, why is NRG banning Haven a major mistake? Well, of course, Haven has just come back in as a map, right? So FNS and SOM, we're trying to catch up to, all the little things that are going on all these different maps or whatever. Well, they've had the same amount of time as everyone else to play Haven. Right? Haven's new to everyone, or coming back in, new to everyone, right? So they've had the same amount of time as everyone else to adapt to Haven, and yet that's their ban, right? Makes no sense. The next thing is that they pick Lotus, right? So they pick Lotus against Sentinels. Now, we'll come into the map veto in the next games as well, but I don't think that this was a very good pick against Sentinels, because Sentinels throughout this year have shown, if you're a Sen fan, you'll know that Sen's attack side on Lotus has been really good, and so obviously by picking Lotus, what that means is you give Sentinels the chance to pick attack side first, and even though Sen lost the pistol in second round, they still win 8-4, right? So a really good half from Sentinels here, especially considering they lost the pistol round, so just not a very good pick. From there, okay, Sen picked Sunset, and they would end up winning 2-0, but somehow you've let Split be map 3. I mean, the three maps that were going to be played here, Lotus, Sunset, and Split, you can make a good argument for throughout the entirety of the season. These are Sentinel's three best maps. How have you ended up with this map veto? It makes no sense. Okay, and now let's talk about some of the things that went on in this Sentinels game as well. Now, we're only going to really focus here on Lotus, because Sunset was an overtime loss against a good team. I thought that they played perfectly fine in this map. It wasn't that bad overall, but we're going to focus on what went wrong on Lotus. Okay, so let's talk about what went wrong for NRG on Lotus then, and we're going to first focus on their comp, and this is going to be a big focus of this video in general, talking about NRG's comps, because I don't think that this comp is that great, right? It's not awful, it's not like a comp that makes no sense, right? I mean, we're just playing a double initiator with a Sentinel, a duelist, and a smokes, right? Like, it's not, you look at this comp and it's like, it is what it is, but there are some problems with it. One is Clove, right? So this is my opinion, and you don't have to agree with my opinion, but I think Clove is the worst agent in pro play. Straight up the worst agent to pick in pro play. The reason that I say that is because this ability, the medal, rarely even gets used. This ability, the pick me up, is, fairly decent on a pistol round, but other than on a pistol round, pros are pretty good at hitting heads. Healing isn't that valuable in pro play a lot of the time. So, it's not a useless ability, but you also have to get a kill first, so it's marginal at best. Obviously, you got the smokes that are whatever, right? They're smokes, cool, whatever. And then you, of course, have the ult as well. Now, the ult in pro play, I think as well, quite a bit of the time won't find you that much value. Either you'll use it and you didn't need to use it because you've already won the round, or you'll use it and, just run in and die, or you'll use it and everyone just runs away and you don't get any real meaningful value from it either. Not that much value. And so what you end up with, yes, you can smoke after death, but you end up with an agent that basically just has smokes, which isn't very good, considering you could pick, say, Omen, who's one of the strongest agents in the game. Instead of that Clove, we could have picked this agent, who is really, really quite good. And yet we didn't. Second thing with this comp is that they're playing Cypher as well, but there was just too many moments on this side where they weren't really playing to the Cypher how it normally gets played. They were doing quite a few setups like this, and really I want to focus on the camera, because if you watch a lot of people play Cypher on Lotus right now, a lot of the Cyphers will be putting a camera somewhere out here, right? And they did do this sometimes, but not enough for my liking, right? This should be like the main way you use Cypher, is putting a cam out here, right? Checking it every so often, seeing that, oh, no one's there. We can full rotate to B and A, right? Or, oh, they're right there. lets everyone get to see, right? Like, that's the way that, Cypher is being used on this map, but they had a lot of setups like this where the Cypher camera was on C, and so they are just lacking some of that information. Obviously, with the Clove as well, we don't have the smokes across the map either, which is just another reason, like, why would you ever play this agent on this map? Don't know, but it led to a lot of rounds like this where we're going to get a C exec and NRG aren't ready for it.
Whoa, that's early. Yeah, early showstopper, just to clear Mount, because we don't have any prior control of this one, and the satchels have all been used up. Second, let's rip there with the ult. At least still the rocket rebounds. Som still healthy, moving forward, spotting it with just ahead. Bunny hopping around, still wants to take up that space. Back of the side.
Broken all of Finesse's utility. Lost a little bait peek, and now they're heading into B.
Okay, Nightfall being used, faking that presence and pressure applied over towards the B side. Not too sure how many more connections, but what is a site that Sentinels want to land on? It looks like they're uncertain themselves. They don't even know it. They double face it, straight through. The trades this time advantageous, all for Sentinels.
That stun's very annoying for Crashies to deal with. He doesn't want to give away his positioning because he feels like he has a good timing. That means he can't really shoot.
Yeah, any noise being made, and he would have been stunned up anyway. Dead to rise, Victor drop.
Okay, so you see that this plays out in a bit of a strange way here, but when Second pops this ult, the map looks like this, but you see that they don't really move here, NRG. They don't really react to the fact that they're getting Raze ulted on. And again, you think like, if FNS did have a camera out here and he just flicks and he sees 3 other people here, like, the reaction would be much faster than it is right here from NRG. But after they come in, right, and again, here's another problem with Clove. Obviously, the smokes don't last as long as you would perhaps would like, right? So by the time that, this kind of little skirmish has gone on, some smoke has already faded. He doesn't have another one up at this point, and he's going to end up swinging out and dying. Right, so initially it kind of looks like Sen, they maybe think about coming over towards B, but then Som dies over towards C because, he doesn't have a smoke up, which again is just another problem. And obviously you think like theoretically anytime the Clove is over towards A as well, like you're not even going to have the range to smoke this off either, right, which was a problem in some of the rounds as well. So you just see like we've just got some problems here for NRG with this comp. But that comp was nothing compared to their second game against G2. Now again, just quickly here, I want to talk about the map veto because again, it just shows that we're a team that doesn't really know what we're doing, really, I think, this map veto, because last time we banned Haven and picked Lotus. In our second game, we banned Lotus and picked Haven. Right? So we've literally flipped what our pick and ban is. Like, you are a team that has been playing for, like, not that long together now, right? Obviously, like, yes, you have experience from the past, but, as a team playing right now, getting caught up to speed, how has this happened to you? How have you... What are you... It just makes no sense, right? And let's come to the first map of Haven, where NRG decided to play this comp. Now, this is not a very good comp on a 3-site map, in my opinion. One, you don't have any info sentinel, right? On a 3-site map, that's just often not going to be a very good idea, basically. And the thing is, okay, you've got a Yoru, an Omen, and a Fade, right? These 3 agents have some nice synergy with each other, right? You've got enough flashes, right? You've got smokes, you've got movement, you've got some synergy with like def and stuff, with the Yoru TPs, like, the synergy between these agents as well. They cover a lot of the bases, and in fact, playing these 3 agents together basically gives you, as long as you then, probably want to have a Sentinel, especially on a 3-site map, then you basically have like a free pick of what the other agent is, because you've kind of covered all of the other bases of what you might want in a normal comp, right? You've got movement, you've got flashes, you've got information, you've got smokes, like, most of the bare bones of a comp are there with just playing these 3 agents. So I've got no problem with playing these 3 agents. Problem is what they picked with their other agents, right? So if we're saying that we've got kind of one free hit, you could say that our free hit here is the deadlock, right? Which is absolutely fine. That's fine to say that, you've kind of gone for a free hit here on the deadlock. That's our wildcard pick if you want, because deadlock on a map like Haven, which is a map with a lot of like fast flooding, kind of retakes coming in on it from the defense side, I could understand why you think like, oh, I'm going to play deadlock and you're not going to be able to do these fast flood retakes, right? Because I'm going to throw a wall in here, I'm going to throw a sonic sensor in here, I'm going to throw a gravnet, and all of your fast flooding won't work against a deadlock. So I understand that, okay, that's your wildcard pick. But then again, our other pick though is Clove. And again, this pick makes no sense. I mean, not just because Clove is bad, which Clove is bad in pro play, but just because well, I don't think they got really any value from it. But the thing is, if you wanted to play double smokes, right? You could have just played Viper. But if you wanted to play more of that kind of aggro style, kind of, go in type stuff, you could have picked ISO, right? Or Reyna, both of which would have been better. If you wanted to go for like full exec mode, you could have picked a Raze, which obviously Victor can play, or a Neon. Or if you wanted to pick an actual Sentinel, you could have picked Killjoy or Cypher. A lot of these roles Victor has played before, so he could have played a majority of those agents that I just listed. And the thing is, all of those options would have been significantly better than Clove. And this comp caused them some problems as well on this map because we didn't have enough information. This is going to be a big theme as well. Because when we're playing this comp, right, we don't have any info Sentinels. We've only really got the Fade here as info. And so what you're going to see is in this pistol round, G2 took their time. They were played very slow, which they tend to do anyway. And FNS is going to put this wall out, right? He's putting this wall out. There's 1:26 left on the clock, okay? This lasts for 30 seconds. So from 1:26, 30 seconds, you've still got plenty of time left in the round, right, to just wait for this. And so that's what G2 did, right? They just said, okay, well, we'll just go and, default towards C. We're just going to walk up here. Whilst we know that we're basically just waiting for this to go down, we're just going to come towards C and insert Leaf here, into the cubby here on C, right? Good use of their time. They now have a player in a good spot, right? And now we're just going to wait for this wall to go down. And now just look, right? We're just playing it patient. We're not moving. And eventually this thing's going to go down. And then you're going to have to start worrying about A. So it goes down now. You see FNS, he has to start backing up. These guys start drifting towards A just naturally because they could be coming towards A. Now we're playing deep across the map. We have absolutely no information. And the thing is right now, like if we look at like where the map is, like G2 could do a lot of different things. I mean, if they did an A exec, you'd feel like, okay, they have a decent chance of winning that. Right? If they did a B exec, they'd obviously get the spike down. Or if they came and did any C split or anything like that, they'd be in a pretty good spot to do that as well, right? So at this point in the round, G2 are in a great position to do really whatever they want. And it's not often that you see this idea, kind of work so well. But what they're going to do here, G2, is they're actually going to go for a triple C hit. It is not often that you get to do this without anyone realizing what is going on.
An exec now from G2. No one waiting onto the B site. NRG won't be able to really meet this one here, and it's faking a pivot. Utah will just try and at least disguise their intent as they head over towards the C site, and they have ripped it open.
So strike one to Val in there.
And then we'll come to the problem with their attack side as well, which is that I just don't think that this comp really helped them in terms of their attack side, in terms of what they wanted to do. Is this comp, I think, forced them into a few too many fast hits, right? Like this is not a comp. I mean, again, your lurk is probably your Clove here, which doesn't feel great, right? Like FNS is on an agent here who, really you want to be with the team as a deadlock, of course, because, you want to be setting up for that post plant and whatnot. But that's not how FNS, FNS is normally a caller who likes to lurk, but you've put him on an agent where you can't really lurk. Doesn't really make a lot of sense there either, right? And so they just had some problems, and they ended up doing a lot of this, where it is just, start of the round, group up, go and hit a site, right? But that's not really what you associate NRG and FNS. That's not really the team that you would associate doing with that. That's not going to be their strength.
And look at Jonah P there, putting that down, still with the triple stack over towards the B site.
I mean, this is a crazy committal by Trent. While all this is happening as well, and all that pressure gets applied, and Trent's absorbing it and calming it, Leafs go on walkabouts. This guy, he's unleashed.
It's your fear!
He's got such a great read on the game.
And Nightfall comes in from the side, at least. Trent's going to be deafened. Be able to hear too much coming for him. Now with the util out and open. Spray transfer not able to be hit. Trent again. This guy cannot be removed, and this is it, the turning point for the map. It's NRG who have to really just grapple onto any chance, any hope, but it's all being denied, all being ripped away from them. The Blade Storms for the final finish and the final blow.
And that's the thing, and that wasn't necessarily a bad exec, and actually quite a few of NRG's execs weren't that bad, and we're pretty good on the whole. But again, it's just not what you associate with like a good old Optic or good old NRG play, right? That's much more about inserting people and kind of, FNS kind of having a mega mind read on what their opponents are doing, not just grouping up and hitting the site as fast as they can. But then we come to Bind, and that's the thing. On Haven, you might give them a bit of a pass for, at least they're trying something, right? They're trying something kind of innovative, kind of out there, weird, like maybe it'll catch them off guard. Like, okay, you can understand that. But their Bind comp is just unbelievable, right? It's not innovative. It's not new. It's actually straight out of 2021. And I don't know if FNS and Som was sleeping during, parts of the offseason, but they do know that Sky got nerfed, right? They do know that that happened and that you don't get these Sky flashes back, right? Because this comp makes no sense anymore on Bind. This is an almost unplayable comp on this map right now. And yet, here we are. And what ends up happening again, of course, again, you end up with extremely limited information because you only have 2 Sky Flashes for the entire round now, of course. So your information is really, really limited here for NRG. And you ended up with a ton of rounds like this where G2, again, are able to outcall them and really just bamboozle NRG.
It can work, but I think it's tough. And that's exactly what we were talking about with NRG's comp and ideas on Haven. It definitely can work, but it is so difficult to pull off.
And the way that G2 play, force your opponents to stew. A lot of early showers control is given up. Of course, it's being held by Ethan just next to him.
Scout destroyed.
Trailblazer gone. Walking up past, just trying to make the most of this fuel timing. They've got themselves into this position, front to side. Almost free for the taking. Jonah P, at least keeping these players attached and tethered to the position, even forcing the rotate. They hear the footsteps of Victor. He's the one with a showstopper. Could have stopped all of it. What a call they've made. It's flanks on flanks. It's a deep push out of showers. The exact same instance. I mean, this just comes down to who gets these kills.
It looks so similar to rounds that Finesse himself would call on the attack side. Heavy lamps control.
This is absurd.
There's fights all over the place.
And Victor's not expecting this. Why would you?
One in spawn, one in market.
And look at the position of Trent. I mean, it's an off angle. They're not overextending. They know that they lost showers control the whole time. It could have been pushed out deep. And as the wall drops down, it gives it the, I mean, most perfect timing. Couldn't ask for anything better. Ball being covered. Finesse. Yeah. Oh, even with the whiff.
Even with the whiff, he just gets clotheslined by Trent swinging around the corner.
Yeah, it is not every day that you see someone in this position. You do not see this very often whatsoever. And again, just no idea what's going on. And we just got absolutely destroyed by it, right? And it's a great call by G2. It's a great understanding of, what potentially has happened in the round. It's a good understanding that they've probably pushed shower, and thought that it's all clear and whatever. Like, it's really good by G2. It's a really, really nice call. But again, the lack of info and all of that caused NRG problems. But again, on their attack side, they had problems as well with their comp, because their comp forces them to play one style, right? Because you've only got 2 flashes and a dog here, and, that's your initiation, essentially, maybe with like a bit of a boombot here. Like, this is a comp that forces you to just go, right? We don't have refreshable smokes. We don't have, obviously, refreshable duelist utility unless we get 2 kills. This doesn't have a refreshable utility that's very good. This doesn't have refreshable utility. Like, we have, like, one chance to just go, essentially. Right, like that's all this comp has to do. So again, NRG on this attack side were basically just forced to just hit the site. But again, that's just not how they play. So again, it's a comp that really just does make no sense for who the team is.
Gotta keep stringing these rounds together though for NRG. There isn't much breathing room. G2 just need to find a few. I see. Quick with a disengage. It's nothing to do with that A short hold. Not anymore. Got the info we needed. He's the rifle holder as well. That's where there's danger.
Yeah, he's going to look to try to disrespect his elders here.
Off to the side there. Saisuda takes that time in again. The rifle finds a different hand. Off down to the side here. The wall into his face. Valorant maybe seeking to just go straight over it. Ethan with the plant. Needs to be covered a little bit. TPs. Round here. Seekers have to be used to clear the way. Flank is going to be spotted. Trent. Not able to do too much. Jonah P's flash. It's a good connection. Even better shot. That's nice. Making a go of things here. Maybe there is a chance once more for the back-to-back Thrifties to Taman. Oh, it's committed. Up in his face. Another rifle gain. Down to just 2 players. This is going disastrous for NRG. Som. It's going to pick up these pieces once more. Find a way through with a mosh. Force them out wide. Valorant with that rifle. G2. That's how they get to 12.
So this is a round against this buy, by the way. They've got 2 classics in this round, G2. They got 1 rifle, and we managed to lose this round. But we lose this round because if you think this idea is going to work in 2024, like, I don't know if FNS might not know. He Joe Biden this round. because this is like him forgetting what year it is. He thinks it's 2021 and Ascend are still like the best team on Bind with this kind of round, because this is the round that they used to run, right? We just all group up here, we use our Viper Wall to get to this point, we put our Sage Wall across A, we plant the spike, and we just go and play post plant, right? But this was before, you know, Viper had 2 mollies that lasted way longer and did more damage back in the day, right? We had multiple Sky Flashes at that point. You know, like it made sense back then, and people weren't very good at the game, so they didn't know how to play against it. But in the modern day, you can't have a post plant with just like no space and walling yourself off to make sure you've got no space against a low buy. What year are you in? And then I love this, you know, okay, we're against a low buy, the Sage Wall is gonna, you know, stop them or whatever. Well, let's use our Seekers to make sure that that destroys our own Sage Wall. Like, Jesus Christ. Holy, I mean, yeah, this is just the kind of round, but this is the thing, right? Their comp, this is what the comp is designed to do. But then why are you playing this comp? It makes no sense, right? It just makes no sense whatsoever. And that's a nice shot by Jonah P, and they deal with it pretty well. Again, it's fairly nice by G2, but you can't afford to play post plants with just no space. Yeah, you're going to get enveloped. Of course you are, right? Of course this is going to happen to you. And yeah, guess what? These guys are just stuck with nowhere to go. Yeah, because you walled yourself in with no space. Like, what do you think is going to happen in 2024 when you play this kind of Valorant? It's just bizarre. It's just crazy that you thought this could ever work. But now we can actually come to the game that they won, which is the crew game, right? But we're actually going to start off with the map that they lost, which was Split. And what went wrong for them on Split? Well, let's take a look at their comp again. Does it look familiar to anyone here? Does this kind of comp look familiar? That we're playing double duelist with no info initiator whatsoever? And again, this comp, it's not like it's an awful comp, right? Like some teams could probably run this and find success, but NRG are not this team. This is not who you are. I don't, like, even if you think that this is the right read on the meta or whatever, which it probably isn't, but, you know, even if you did think that, like, this is not you. You know, there are other comps on Split that you could make work and probably be pretty good at. Because again, it forced NRG to do a lot of these kind of plays, these fast kind of plays that just aren't suited to their style.
Oh, full buy from NRG. Crew have a judge in the hands of Shy, and it's pace towards A, but it's traded right back. They've kept things out. Heat playing down low. Nothing to clear. It's only getting worse. Kesnit's nade causes so many problems. I mean, look at the health bars on the members of Crew, or of NRG, excuse me.
One enemy.
Oh, forget the judge. A snap like that, you won't miss. Ethan manages to get the spike down, but he's in such a miserable position. A dreadful spot to be in. His bullets whiz right by his head. He's ultimately cleaned up.
But now let's come to Ascent, because Ascent is where it all changed. Everything got better all of a sudden. How did it get better? Well, let's take a look at the comp that they're playing. Oh my goodness, a normal comp? What is this? You can play a normal comp, NRG. Good for you. And wait a minute, you won this map with a normal comp? Oh my goodness, wow. And look, normally I'm against people playing meta comps on Ascent, but this time I'll give them an exception. And take a look at this round. Okay, take a look at this round. Take a look at how we start this round, right? Okay, we get suppressed there. We're going for an early op shot. It's not there, right? We're just chilling. We're just waiting. We got the camera over towards B main just here, right? It gets destroyed. Okay, they're in B main. We understand that. We're just chilling. Kesnet's coming, rotating over towards A with his defensive op over here. But now we're going to drone in B main. We're going to drone in B main with a cage up there as well. In we come, we clear B main. That's going to force Kesnet to rotate back across. We're manipulating rotations on the map. Ooh, that's quite FNS. Ooh, that's quite NRG. And now we're walking up. We're contacting up with our operator here over towards A. Crew don't know where we are. We could be hitting anywhere on the site, but we're just going to contact up. We're just going to play it nice and quiet. And oh, look, we get a kill. And then we're going to explode into the site. Wow, we contacted up in onto the site, got a kill, managed to get ourselves onto this A site here. Oh my goodness. Isn't this just wonderful? Isn't this just NRG? Isn't this just FNS? Isn't this just obviously what we should be doing in every single map? And now, as we watch this round go forward as well, you're going to see that we come up with a nice plan for this post plan as well, right? Because they've got a Killjoy lockdown, so we need a plan to think about that. You know, Victor actually dies there too, Kesnet, but we'll watch. In a 4v4, watch here, NRG, going to come up with a nice plan and good execution.
Suppressed, no longer in play. Finesse on the late lurk. Heat ready for it, though. You saw his crosshair turn. It doesn't matter. Finesse gets a kill. NRG keeping Crew back, at least for now. MTA in the 1v2. That was almost messy, but NRG take the lead.
And then from that Ascent game, I think NRG built a lot of confidence of like, okay, we actually can do this. You know, we know what we are doing again. Right, and they took that into Sunset, and again, we're playing, you know, a normal Sunset comp. They obviously played Sentinels close on this map as well, so, you know, we already knew that they were, you know, at least decent at this map. And again, just take a look at this round. Now, obviously, the Sunset meta is more about, you know, just kind of grouping up and doing execs, but at least they're a bit quiet about it here, right? Like, they aren't loud straight away, you know, in terms of what they're doing. You know, you see them just kind of contact into this first part with a smoke just up there. You know, and this is like, you know, perfectly fine to do on this map. This is just what the meta has kind of become on this map. Ethan grabs an ult orb, and now they're going to do their B exec. Now, I do have to question Crew here as well. Their Cypher setups were just awful. There's no other way around it. This was just completely awful from Crew in every single way. Again, just a complete lack of understanding of what's going on, because NRG in their comp, you know, they only have one way of destroying trips. They're playing a Neon, so they are going to destroy your Cypher trips on B. That is going to be a high priority for them anytime that they come B. They only have one bit of utility that actually can do that, and that's this Aftershock, right? And this Aftershock, you're going to see it in just a second, is always going to come in just there, right? So you see it now. This is the Aftershock that's going to come in, and it's going to destroy two specific trips. Easy for me to say. It's going to destroy the one just across here, and it's going to destroy the one across here. Now, I could show you screenshots of most rounds in this game, or particularly anytime Shao was on B. He always did at least one of those two trips. I have no idea why. I have no idea why at some point they didn't just realize, like, oh, this Aftershock is always going to come in anytime they come to B. So I should just not do those trips and do any other two trips, right? Like this one back here is fine. Could have put one here, could put one down here, right? Like anything that won't get destroyed by this Aftershock is absolutely fine. But instead we decided to always just waste one trip. But as I mentioned before in some of those earlier games, even when NRG were playing comps, you know, that were pretty exec heavy, some of their execs actually were pretty good. And that continued on Sunset as well.
But you're right, MTA is a little bit closer here too to help. And it seems like they are going to fight on this, but will it go their way? Nope. Shy's bit, he's dead.
I know exactly.
No real even opportunity for Kesnet to pop his ult for that to be a factor.
Can't use it.
It's a disconnect in the defenses right now. Both players, both B anchors on an island.
Oh. So there it is. In my opinion, NRG, as long as they don't troll map vetoes, as long as they're playing normal-ish comps, I think that will help them a lot. And look, you can shoot them some bail that, hey, they were playing against Sen and G2 the first 2 weeks, arguably the best two teams in Americas anyway, you know, so you can definitely say that they were unlucky in that sense anyway. But I do think that hopefully this performance now, they'll build a bit of confidence and they'll realize that they can do this. To me, just dial it down in terms of the experimentation.